Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Davison. You're watching Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back to the basics. And before I introduce my guest here, I do want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by PocketJackComics.com. They have a bunch of Kickstarters going on, so go check out their website at PocketJackComics.com and check out Kickstarter and just type in Pocket Jack Comics, and you will be brought to every project they do. And I promise you that you will be very happy with those books because they are beautifully illustrated. But enough about that, because I have with me artist, writer, manga tier, if I will, Doug Hills. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is gonna be fun. I appreciate this.
Yeah, no, I am very excited because you have done a lot of stuff. You've done work for Tops, you've done work for WWE, you've done stuff for Marvel with Tops, you've done stuff obviously with Star Wars and Tops, and some other stuff, some Headlock Wrestling. And so, why don't you quickly introduce who you are? Because you've been doing this for a while. You also did, I think, Manga Studios for Dummies, if I'm not mistaken on that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You
I
did
did
your
not read that.
research.
I am not a mangateer. I just want to make that crystal clear. I can draw a stick figure, and that's about it. And so please don't ask me to draw because I am shabby at that.
um. Okay. Yeah. So, yep. My name is Doug Hills. I am a jack of all trades. Apparently, just been doing this for a profession for a little over 25 years now. Been a fan of just all this stuff since I can remember, and now I get to draw some of this stuff for a living, which is just mind blowing. But yeah, you've already kind of covered some of the stuff I've done. I've had the chance to do professional work for WWE, for Tops, Upper Deck. That was one we didn't cover. So I got to do some sketch cards for Upper Deck DC. So if you collect like physical sketch cards, I have my first set officially through Upper Deck. So that's kind of cool. Um, geez, what else? Yeah, comic books, storyboards, um, drawings for people, lots of commissions. And yeah, and so yeah, just been I did web comics. That's I did that. That was actually how I started doing stuff for um like try to do things as an actual career. Is just like I started doing web comics back in 2001
That's
with a comic called Place Name Here, which was just basically it was around that time. It was like, oh, we'll just do like the slice of life comedy thing. And then my wife and I created another web comic called Chibi Cheerleaders from Outer Space, uh, which was her little send up. She wanted to do like an homage to like bad 50s sci-fi and some anime tropes and stuff. And the whole premise was like aliens using hypnotic anime to ensnare fanboys in their quest to take over the world.
oh my god. There's so much we could break down right there. Obviously, I mean the amount of stuff that I know is your web comics, and if I knew that, I'd be really, really, really well informed. I know a lot of your career. Obviously, I know a lot of the wrestling stuff. I know a lot of the comic stuff. I know a lot of the Marvel Top stuff. And obviously, I mean that's how I know your career is all the wrestling stuff you've done, and you've done both the WWE and you kind of did the indie side, which is interesting, especially with Headlock. And that's where I think
Hmm.
you're really interesting is that the whole Headlock comic stuff, because you've done some storyboards for them. What was it? I think like issue 12, the RVD story.
I've done um I've I'm now done like almost like 10 years with Mike Kingston on Headlocked, just doing a bunch of like small stories. I've been doing so many at this stage now. I've kind of been the primary artist right now for his Tales from the Road series. So if you're familiar with Pro Wrestling Tees, they do like a crate service. So kind of like a blind box, I think, how it works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and they will, at least every quarter, they put like this little mini comic. And yeah, RVD was one of them. I've done stories for Booker T, for Jerry the King Lawler, Adam Cole, um, the Inspiration, formerly the Iconics. Um, just I've kind of lost track. Jay White. Um, And
You've done
yeah,
a
just
lot
like
of stuff. I mean, I got pictures here because let's just go through the pictures because
oh
my
jeez.
favorite moment in wrestling is this.
Oh god. The Steiner math. Yeah, that was a fun one. Mike tells me, I get the script and this was the bit, and he's just like, going, just do Steiner math. I'm like, okay. And he kind of gave me like a framework of like things, and I think it was to just kind of almost play up the math meme that we see. Um, and yeah, that was just a fun
So,
one
so,
to
so
do.
what is that like though? Because that is like one of the most iconic, modern day wrestling memes, discussion points that everybody sends to everybody else at any given point when something is not adding up. So when something is
Hmm.
not adding up at my job on Teams, I will shoot my boss Steiner math, or I'll shoot my coworker Steiner math. And then my boss is not a wrestling fan. He looks at it and then he just starts laughing because he's like, this is brilliant. So, like, what is that like? Because it's an art print, I think, right? From my understanding.
It's actually a Tales from the Road story. So it's actually part of it was a compared to the other stories that were, like kind of within the Headlocked universe. Because I don't know how familiar you are with like Headlocked as a whole. It's like Mike has this main story that he has. It's almost like a drama about this person who's kind of making every possible wrong mistake to get into the business, kind of thing. Um, and he had been working, that was like the main story. And then when he started doing stuff for Tease, he did these Tales from the Road stories. And they are ones where you would have like, it's like, say, it was like, say, Adam Cole, but it's not like Adam Cole, it's the Chugs, like his Twitch handle kind of thing. And they're all sort of like kind of in universe characters. So they're analogs to the Headlock universe. The Scott Steiner one was a completely, or I guess it was the Steiner brothers. No, Scott. It was a different one where it was just like a series of like kind of pinups that were throughout the history of the Steiner brothers. So there were ones where it's like I had them. Uh, there was, one of them was I had like them doing like this their finishing move, the top rope bulldog move. I had to try to illustrate doing a Frankensteiner, which was interesting. Trying to get that motion of doing that, and those are always the tricks. Of like, oh, here, do this. Like, actually, the Adam Cole one's another one. I'm supposed to, like, I had to do is like the Panama Sunrise, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And I don't have it on me at the moment, but it was like, all right, I had to just kind of like do 3 steps of him doing like second rope drop and then hit him with the Canadian Destroyer, and those are those are kind of the fun things. But yeah, going back to this the that one, that happened to be just one page of the history of Scott Steiner, ending with a picture of like them at the Hall of Fame, or like a drawing of them at the Hall of Fame kind of thing. So that one was different than the other ones where it was just Scott Steiner, and it was just it was a series of just like individual images that actually kind of worked out. Could have been Prince in a sense.
Because it's one of the most like, I guess, modern day iconic positions of Scott Steiner, and it's so mean that everybody knows it in wrestling because it was
Oh, I
such a
didn't realize that people were. I mean, like the Steiner math thing, or my drawing in particular.
the Steiner math,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in general, and then you have a drawing of it, and it captures what that means. Like if you see the promo, and that's what makes it so wonderful, and that's why I wanted to talk about it because I see this
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, I want a huge poster of this. Like I want to just buy like a 24 by like 11 poster of this because it's so ridiculous and it's such a funny thing and everybody knows it and you got the whole
Hmm.
formula. And I don't know what that is like for you, but as a wrestling fan, you just see something sometimes in wrestling and you're like, that's brilliant. And then you see the exact thing how it would look in art and you're like, you
Hmm.
nailed it.
I mean, because if you notice in the background, it's his entire promo in the back.
Exactly how it should be drawn is the promo. And that's why it's so wonderful, that whole thing. And this is why I love this one more than the others. And we're obviously biased here. And not to say everything else is bad, but like it just captures that whole thing perfectly. And that's what's brilliant about that image. And it's like,
Honestly, go ahead.
please. No,
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 I
no,
was
no.
gonna say
You
no.
go.
It's stuff
Yes.
like that. There's stuff like that that makes me. It reminds me why I do this. Like a motto that I have with my work is that everyone deserves cool art, and whether it's like you asking for a specific commission or you just happen to like something I like or that I've drawn, cool. Like then I've done what I'm doing. You know, uh, it's the tenant. It's like, and if I create something that you or like other people really enjoy, that is like, all right, cool. It's like, all right, that's the stuff that kind of keeps me going. It's like, all right, I can continue to do that during the usual artists moments of like, oh my god, I suck, moments. And we all have those. If you know an artist, you know that artist will be like, I'm a terrible artist, kind of thing.
It happens to me in which that, you know what it is, I've been where I'm like, oh man, I failed the interview. And be like, no, dude,
Hmm.
that was a great interview, right? And so it's like, it's always nice when somebody comments on YouTube, oh, dude, I really enjoyed this, right? Because you always have the fear that, because I don't know how an interview is perceived by everybody else, because
Hmm.
sometimes nobody comments and people watched it. And I have like interviews that have like 4,000 views and there's no comments on them. And I'm like, do people like this? Do they not like it? It has 4,000 views, but like, I don't know if
Hmm.
something like, way to go, man, or this is ridiculous, or I watched 30 seconds and I can't stand you. But then when somebody says, oh, dude, I watched this whole thing. That was great. I really enjoyed it. Can you interview her again? Or can you interview him again? I got 20 more
Hmm.
questions for you. And I'm like, I'm going to try. But like, it's so important. I think, and I find it fascinating that you think that everybody deserves cool art, whether they
Yeah.
paid for the art itself or they're buying the print or the comic book of it.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. It's still cool if they enjoy it, right?
Right. And also, it's like I've told people before, it doesn't matter if it's a $5 commission or it's like, a WWE like thing they asked me to work on. You're going to get the same quality product because I can't not just like, I can't phone it in. Like, I'm going to agonize regardless of who it's for because everybody in my mind is that important. So, like, you are no more or less important than Tops or WWE or Fanatics or all these places. I've been very fortunate because I consider it like US, like, so like using you as an example is like, say you want a commission, it's like, you asked me to do that. And that is important. Like, because you want something very nice. And I want to do my best to give that to you. And hopefully, like I guess my track record has been okay. Um, that but and that's it. But and to your point about like agonizing over your work, um, we wouldn't do it. Like we wouldn't be agonizing and stressing and like doubting ourselves if we didn't care. If we didn't care, we just phone it in and be like, yeah, whatever, kind of thing. But we want to do our best and we want to keep getting better and we keep pushing ourselves and yeah, sometimes not having like the actual feedback can kind of like throw us off. um that is like the double-edged sword I've found to social media and even pre-social media. Like when I actually had a similar thing when I was doing the chibi cheerleaders comic. I would check the page views. That was like the stats back in the olden times was like page views. And I would get that. I was like, oh, I was getting like 1,000 people a day checking out our webcomic. Cool. No one's saying anything. And it's not going up and it's not going down. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, I'm not getting more readers. But I was also like short-sighted enough. I was like, but I'm not, my wife was like, but you're not losing we're not losing readers either. And you're like, yeah, but why are we growing? He's like, it's that thing that and especially if there's no like major feedback. I didn't find out until like sometimes later on where people are like, oh yeah, I love TV cheerleaders. I'm like going, wow, you're like the first person or that's actually read it or that I've heard that's read it. Um, so yeah, I can get how, like, yeah, almost not getting that much feedback
Mhm.
um, can throw you off. So even like you just telling me how much you really love that Steiner math thing, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a cool thing, wasn't it?
I mean, it's so weird, but I find it also interesting because you touched upon something about a commission. I mean, I have gotten commissions from my favorite artists, and I paid good money for it, and they produced good quality for it, and I love it. And I mean, the thing got like 10,000 likes on Instagram when he put it
Mhm.
up, or he handed it to me, and then but I didn't see it on Instagram until after I picked it up, and then how I knew it was great is that it was graded by CGC and they're like, "Oh, damn." And then the company that it was Zenoscope, you know,
Mm.
I went to their booth and they were like, "Oh, yo, you see this cool thing that just Elias Chazoudis did?" I said, "I know, it's mine." So they didn't even know it was my cover that I commissioned. And that's how I knew it's an awesome one. But like the
Dang.
idea is that, he put in the same quality of work that he would do for a cover for them on the
Hmm.
commission. And I mean, it wasn't cheap. I mean, it wasn't ultra expensive. I mean, we're not talking J. Scott Campbell money here, but
Right.
it was a good amount of money. It was like a $300 commission, and it was well worth it. But like the idea is that he didn't skimp out on the problem. My mom was
Hmm.
terrified. She was with me when I was getting it. She's like, "You're handing somebody a book and money in cash. How do you know this is gonna work?" And I'm like, "You kind of gotta trust the system." But
I
like,
was gonna say it's a leap of faith. That's really all it is with all of these things. I mean, and it goes the other way too, because there will be times more often than not. I'm almost the opposite. I don't want to get paid until the work is done. Or sometimes I may just like it may be just how the business transaction, with the company works. But sometimes they'll be like, yeah, don't pay me until the work is done kind of thing. Because otherwise I will almost like start thinking too much about the money and be like, oh, I gotta make sure this is a X number of dollar,
So I'm
pro
so the opposite. I'm so the opposite, like, especially at a con, I wanna pay up front and I pay in cash
mm-hmm.
because I save up my money and I bring a lot of cash to a comic convention, and I would never do a commission over the internet. It just doesn't work for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel comfortable in that circumstance, but, like, I find it so interesting, right? Because I would rather pay up front, and that money's already gone if it's in cash. So if you
Mm-hmm.
screw me as an artist, well, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it, but that money's already been accounted for and it's gone in
Right.
my, and so I'm not down the hole, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
back to zero because if I bring $1,000 to a con, I don't have that $1,000 for anything else. If I walk away with the con with $500 in my wallet, that's $500 that fell out of the sky for me. But I budget ahead of time accordingly, and so that's why I like
Right.
paying up front because the money's already gone, and so I can't. I mean, if I don't spend the money at the convention, then I have that money for something else, but it's already gone in my mind, and that's how I function.
Right.
But I mean, but it's also I'm buying a personal item, so it's not a
Mm-hmm.
business, and that's the other thing too is that if you're running a business or doing a commission for your job, it's also different, and especially when you're working for big companies and doing some cool stuff like that, like WWE and other stuff, that's a whole different transaction completely.
Oh yeah. Yep. That and all sorts of NDAs and all these different things that when I will, like to kind of put things in perspective. So I've been doing this for 25 years, and it really, and I say this as someone, if for people out there that are watching this that are maybe like starting out doing this, and I've had friends of mine that early on, like one of my really good friends, Riley Brown, is a artist,
Oh
and
yeah.
he started off uh, almost like right out of the gate. So like to put things, there's a group of us on like in around 2005. We kind of formed an online group called 10 Ton Studios, and the whole idea was us pushing ourselves to get better. And when you hear who was in it, you're like, so it was myself, Jason Baruti, Riley Brown, Chris Burnham, Aaron Cooter, Steve Willett, Nick Pitara, Koi Pham, um, Charles Paul Wilson the third. It's like these, and a lot of these guys went on to work for Marvel. Like Riley got into Marvel like that. Like he got to do like one of the Christmas specials for Marvel around 2005, 2006.
Didn't
And
he do a bunch of Deadpool too?
oh, he did a lot of Deadpool.
And Chris
I think I've seen
Burnham,
some of his decals like on cars. And I'm like,
and
yeah, I
then
know
and
he
then
did
Chris
that.
Burnham did like Batman Incorporated, right?
Yep. Yep.
So
And
I know those two very well. I know those two artists very well, as far as
Nick,
their art goes.
yeah, Nick and Chris, like Burnham and Nick are very like in the Frank Quietly realm. Like, I'm trying to think of some of the stuff. Nick has done some stuff for for Marvel and DC. Aaron Cooter, he's like the big boy over at Marvel right now. I mean, he's been on Guardians, he's been on Spider-Man. I think he's on Thor. No, he's either on Thor or Daredevil now. He's been keeping himself busy. He's another one who has that very open line work style. But okay, so Riley got in her. Me, I've been trying to make a living out of this for 25 years.
That's a
I only
hustle. With
really I
respect.
only got really into it, like where I started to like say, "Oh, I'm making like some actual money on this." Is like maybe 6, 7 years ago. So, for those of you that are like starting off and you're like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get this," like, it's kind of a crapshoot, but don't be discouraged if this is really what you want to do. And that was me. Like I would be beating myself up, and I'm seeing my friends like they're getting big jobs and different stuff, and I'm not breaking into the comics industry, and I'm getting down, but I also can't not draw. So I just kind of kept going, and uh, eventually just kind of like shifted because there was a point where I realized like, all right, I'm not making it because my goal was eventually to draw X-Men. I wanted to be. I got into X-Men when when the animated series came out, and that's what kind of spiraled me into comics wanted to do that for a living. But I never got anywhere in the mainstream stuff. So no, I've done some indie stuff, but didn't get anywhere with Marvel and DC. And that's when I really decided to kind of shift. And around this time is when I started doing more stuff with Headlocked. So I was doing comics. It just happened to be pro wrestling comics. And so I was doing some posters for Mike. Then I was doing some stories. Then Mike Quackenbush reached out to me from Chikara
I know
and
Mike
asked.
on this show. He's been on this show.
Oh,
So
Mike's
it's a
been.
bit of a dirty word. It's a bit of a dirty word, him. But we're all adults in the room.
I was gonna say. I mean, Mike has been a good friend, and he's been someone that I he was a definitely early person that like gave me work. So I got to do like DVD covers for Jakar for a while, and it helped him. I think I helped come up with some of the artwork for one of the games that Jakar had come out with, one of the App Store games, um, and just slowly started to kind of build a name for myself on the indies. And that was around the time when a rep from WWE reached out and asked me if I'd, want to maybe do some stuff with.
Let's talk about some of the indie stuff, right?
Mhm.
Because there's a few names that I like on the indies, and I've interviewed her, and this is it.
Oh, Solo.
Hulk
Yeah. Oh,
Annual,
she's
right?
great. Hmm?
Hulk Annual, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I had
Yeah.
that shirt. I had that shirt. I can't find it. I was trying to find it to wear it,
Oh, that's
but.
awesome.
So I bought it up in DC at a Nova show of all places. Um, and I do have Solo's tail. So, I have one of her tails. And that's a
Nice.
whole different discussion. Yeah,
Oh my god. Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she was like that freaking like, freaking like furry
the,
tail
the
thing.
very early on stuff. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
Because I
funny.
interviewed her early. She was like my 15th interview back in the
Mm,
day. Back in the
hmm.
day. So obviously, what is this like? Because it's a tribute to Hulk Annual, which is an
Yep.
expensive book now in comics. 9.8 Hulk Annual is going to run you like $8,000. It's ridiculous how expensive it is, but it's an awesome cover because you know what it is when you see it. If you're a
Hmm.
comic fan,
And if you're not, then at least this is a really cool drawing of Solo Darling. Um, and yeah, so like that, if you want to like doing stuff for Mike, and because Solo was working for Chikara at the time, I built up a rapport with her, and she would ask me to do some stuff for her. I did a lot of shirts for her, and then I had done a shirt, or no, I did a. I think I helped. No, did I do a shirt for when Solo and Willow Nightingale were tag teaming? I did some
Is it
stuff
the
for their
blue
tag
shirt?
team.
Is it the blue shirt?
I did, yeah. I think it was the blue shirt and it was like the bird and the bee. I helped kind of
I
design
have
their
that shirt
logo.
too. I have that shirt. I
Um,
didn't know you did that shirt. I would have wore that shirt if I knew.
and I did it was, yeah, like I did like a pin. I think it was like I think Solo made pins out of them at one point, of like her and Willow. And that may have been the same thing as that was the shirt design. Um, but that was it. Like that, honestly, a lot of the stuff that really happened over the last few years was good word of mouth. And that's my other advice for anyone that's like wanting to do, if they want to do this for a living, is like just be a good hand. Get your stuff done on time, or at least as close as possible. Um, do the best work that you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Um, be professional, and that it covers a whole range of things, but just earn trust, because there's like if you are working for somebody, and you're kind of coming in cold, like they have no reason to trust you. Like you have to kind of earn, like any of the stuff that I had done for WWE, I slowly built their trust. Um, and I appreciate that, but they would throw
You're touching upon
projects
something
at me.
very
Sorry.
you're touching upon something very interesting, right? Where I did a semester. So when I was in college, I studied abroad and I studied in DC. And the
Mhm.
first lesson that the professor taught us in DC is there's two magical words. Please and thank you go a long way in Washington, DC when you want something. If you
Mhm.
want a lobbyist to speak and you're teaching a class, please and thank you go a long way. They go a long way. Excuse me also goes a long way too. And it sounds
Mhm.
funny, but people really tend to gravitate when, hey, okay, I'm not really understanding this, and you call up a government agency to somebody, hey, can you please help me? Because it goes a long way in that regard, and it helps you a lot more. And then when you do that, you either shoot them an email, a text message, or you say after the phone call, hey, I really appreciate it. Because guess
Mhm.
what? It's a small town. It's a really small town.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter your political views in that town. It's a small town. And
Mhm.
everybody knows everybody who's powerful. And if you rub the wrong person in DC the wrong way, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter, because the Republican is speaking to the Democrat. And if your name
Mhm.
is on their list, it's like Chris Jericho, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You
Well,
made the
that's
list.
it.
And that
Exactly.
and those rules apply to business in general.
Mhm.
And the reason
So
why they
word
apply,
of mouth can go both ways. It is a double-edged sword,
yes.
and it is the you can if I whenever I've done a project for somebody, and because it's true, I tell them, it's like, I really appreciate this. Like, you didn't have to ask me to do this, and I also
You're doing
know
me the
that.
favor. You're doing me the favor, to be honest.
Ah, no, I appreciate you asking me, but but that's just it. It's like those are those things that going the at any point. I am no like I've been very fortunate to work with these companies, but I'm not an employee. And even if I was an employee, there's no guarantee that I would be there tomorrow. I joke that I treat um it like the Dread Pirate Roberts and the Princess Bride. It's like, good night, Doug. Sleep tight. Most likely we'll feature Endeavor you in the morning. You know, kind of thing. And so the fact that I am now freelancing with like say WWE for like 6 years now, like this will be year six, is well above and beyond whatever I expected. And that came from a lot of hard work, a lot of hitting deadlines, and they gave me some deadlines. And also just being a good hand, because at no point are they under any obligation to use me for anything. And I know that. Same with Tops, same with Fanatics. Um, but it's but just hey, I'm gonna do the best I can, and I'm gonna be as professional as possible. Pleases and thank yous and introductions and gratitude go a long way. So I totally agree with what you were saying. Like pleases
I,
and thank yous go so
I,
far.
I know firsthand. I mean, I was laid off from my job in June, and it came out of nowhere, and I felt pressure all year long going into it,
Mhm.
and I felt something was wrong, but there is no guarantee it could happen tomorrow. And guess what? I know a lot of people who are in and are in a similar boat than I am.
Mhm.
And I'll rebound somewhere eventually. And I'm okay at the moment. But the idea is that there is no guarantee. One of my favorite songs is by Glorilla. It says, "We might die tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. We might die tomorrow." It's the lyric, and
Mhm.
she's right. To the point of that song is that you don't know what could happen tomorrow. There's no guarantees. But since you brought up WWE, we got to talk about it. And one of my favorite wrestlers is Tiffany Stratton.
Oh.
And I love Tiffy time. I love Tiffy time. She's great. I got some cool Tiffy cards. My favorite Tops card is her in her Barbie entrance at WrestleMania.
Oh, yep.
Brilliant idea. Love it. But what is this like? Because these prints are yours. They're
Mhm.
limited, I think, to 50 or 75. I forget which. And they're signed by the wrestler.
Mhm.
And they're authenticated by, I think, the
Mhm.
WWE and Fanatics and that company. So what is that like? Because it's a really cool product in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
this was, another um thing. Yeah, that was like, getting the chance to work with Fanatics, because this is like the posters are WWE, but through Fanatics, versus like when I've done official like other like in-house WWE related projects. So this was a recent thing that I got to do. I was contacted by a representative from Fanatics and was said, "Hey, you were recommended by WWE. We're going to do some prints. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so they got those. I've gotten to do. Oh, geez, I think I don't know how many are like out yet. I've done a fair number. I don't know how
Who's
many are public yet. Yep.
who's
I was going to say that. Hang on. Um, it is a perk that I get my own. Um, so in addition, kind of like the trading cards, so like when I do sketch cards, you get like artist proof cards. Now these I can't like resell on like sketch cards, but I got like my John Cena
which is right
and
here. The better
yep,
John
and my
Cena
Jay
for you.
Uso and my Tiffany Stratton. And I will say, kind of the same thing, because you mentioned the Dummies book. When when I got to work on these things, it's one thing when I write it or when I draw it, but then to kind of get it in your hands is like, okay, this is cool.
What he's
It's
really
just,
saying is that he's just thrilled that he got a John Cena autograph. That's
yeah,
really
that
what he's
too. I'm
saying.
like, oh yeah, I got a John Cena autograph. That's who knew?
I get it. I get it. Because I will show you what I have of John Cena that is awesome, right? So I have that, which is
Oh,
his
what?
his it's his sock.
Oh,
So
okay,
I I
neat.
I get it. That's his sock that he wore on the first Netflix on Monday Night Raw in the Netflix era. So yes, I get it. I get it, everybody. I get it. And, and and that's a personal card. Because it's an awesome card. So you just wanted the John Cena autograph. That's how you did this whole thing, right? 7 years, right?
When I got the chance to like, hey, you're gonna draw John Cena, I'm like, okay, huh, sure. Well, the number of times when I have gotten the chance to create, when they asked me to do something, because like when I first started stuff for WWE, it was they were doing some boxes for specific wrestlers. So like my first official project for WWE was an Ultimate Warrior poster. Yeah, that's the one. And so that is my first ever WWE thing. And then I got to do a Randy Savage one and a Roddy Piper one. Yep. And then later on, I would get they would give me shirt designs, and then I'm seeing Roman Reigns wearing my shirt. I'm seeing Cody Rhodes wearing my shirt. I'm seeing, yep, that one. And that's that I was gonna say, that was the craziest thing. Hang on. I don't you probably already saw this, but oh, where did I put it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yep. Hang on. Do, 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 do.
I know what's coming. I know it's coming.
The action figure?
Yeah.
Well, there's that one. But then you've seen the skateboard, right?
I did not see the skateboard. That I didn't
So
even know was a thing.
all right, so yeah, this blew my mind. It's because I got one of my buddies was like, "Hey, did you see what they announced at uh was it Comic Con? I don't know, or one of them, or Toy Fair or something like that. No, it was Mania. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it was around Mania week, and and Cody's on there, and like, yeah, they took your shirt and made it into an action figure, and I'm like, okay. I just yeah, I geeked out a bit. But no, this was another one where it's like this was for Mania Hollywood. And this is the thing. It's like also like my header, I think, on my Instagram or something like that. But they asked me, "Hey, do you want to design a skateboard deck?" I've never done that before, and I'm like, "Sure."
Sick.
So that's then I was very fortunate that I got one of these. And then I'm seeing, so after I did it, and that's it. It's like a lot of these things, like I did it, didn't think anything further of it. And then next thing I know, I'm seeing pictures uh at like the Mania Access, and there's a stack of the skateboards there. Or I'm seeing like the Cody Rhodes shirts, or just I got to draw. Yeah, I had the Rock. He doesn't know me from anybody, but he promoted the shirt I designed. It was the one that was like the Batman meme, except him smacking Cody Rhodes. And then I see him promoting it on his Instagram, and I'm like, the the hell's going on?
So
you
so
know?
let's talk about some of these shirts because
Mhm.
there's some cool ones, right? So we got this right here, which is Drew.
Ah, Drew. Drew's
So
great.
he's fantastic, and he supports a bunch of indie wrestlers. There's a guy
Mhm.
named Parker Greatness, and he supported him in an independent wrestling show. And he's like, "Is this the real Drew Gulak?" And then he shot him as he's like, "Yeah, I'm the real Drew Gulak." Like, very funny question on my show. He was explaining. So he's great, right? Then we
Yeah.
have Nikki.
Oh, Nikki's been really cool. She when I got the chance to do her Nikki Ash stuff, I reached out to her, and she was just like, she was really super cool, and she was very very happy with that. And that's that's another thing that I'm very fortunate that on one level, like, oh, I'm doing this, for the company and stuff, but I also want to create good stuff that the talent wants to promote and wants to wear, and I hope that I do that. And I guess like if some of them are wearing them, then clearly I'm doing okay. But but to hear kind of that same thing we were saying, like every now and then I'll get like a I'll be able to hear from like, I met like Mustafa Ali a few years later when he was in at TNA, and I had done some stuff for him over, where I could over the years, when he was at WWE. And super cool guy. And Drew, that shirt, I had done I think three shirts for him, and that was a pleasant surprise. And I'd already known Drew for a few years prior because I had done a poster of him for Headlocked, and that's how I met Drew online, and I finally got to meet him at a Beyond show last year. Uh,
Beyond Wrestling,
mhm.
Uncharted Territory, all that,
Yep, I
all
met him at
wrestling,
Worcester,
all that good
and
stuff,
so,
right?
huh?
All that good stuff. What up in they're not in Boston. They're in
Worcester.
Worcester. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
they're a
mean,
little, yeah.
IWTV is great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Connecticut.
Um,
So I got to go up there, but it's not that far of a drive. But like, awesome company, awesome
mm-hmm.
company.
I've also gotten to do like I'm like going all over the place, but like another company that's just recently started, but another guy I've done a lot of work with is Hale Collins of the Now, which is a indie tag team with him and Vic Delicious, and they recently started a promotion in Poughkeepsie, New York, called Awesome Championship Wrestling, and every year Hale would even prior to this, so like back when Northeast, when they were working with Northeast, Hale would be like, "Hey man, you want to do a poster?" I'm like, "Yes." And so I would do like every year I would do a new print for him, and then by proxy, then I got to do, I would get, he would commission me. He's like, "All right," because he's friends with David Arquette, and all right, I have this like idea. Like, okay, I want you to draw David Arquette because as Bozo the Clown as a wrestler. Because David Arquette owns I guess he has the license to Bozo the Clown now. And so I did it. And then I, reached out to David and was like, "I hope you like it, man." It's like, "Oh, you did this. This is great."
Oh, speaking of David Arquette, we
Oh,
have to
the
we have
Nick
to
Gage
talk
one?
about we have to talk about this one, right? Why
Oh,
is he not in this one?
because I was not asked to put him in this one. I don't think he was in that. That was
The
um
joke is that so the Instagram, he said, "Why am I not in this?" On Instagram,
oh,
underneath it. That's why.
I
That's
totally missed that one.
so on your Instagram on that post, he says, "Why am I not drawn in this in the collective?"
Blame Mike
And
Kingston. I
what'd you say?
said blame Mike Kingston. I think because that was the promote, that was for the GCW show, and Mike gave me like a list of the people that were to be on this, and I threw a couple, like I think Solo I threw in because she was going to be on the show, and she popped for that. She didn't know she was going to be in that. Um and I think I've gotten better with likenesses.
Yeah, LAX is in there. That's great.
hmm
Yeah, so many people.
Um, but yeah, so um, what was I gonna? Oh, so yeah, so the backtracking. So when Drew was at WWE, I was asked, "Hey, you want to draw? I know you're friends with Drew. Do you want to do a couple of shirts for him?" Like, yeah. And so I did, and they got released. And then I texted him. I was like, "What do you think?" He goes, "Oh, you did these?" I'm like, "Yeah." Surprise. I thought I could tell you anyway, but surprise.
So,
and
so, so
stuff.
even
So,
go further, so even go further into the shirts because you've done a bunch of stuff.
mhm.
Obviously, you did this for Lita,
Yep.
and then that was
Yep.
that hot topic, I think, also, which is kind
Mhm.
of really cool, right?
Yeah, that's pretty trippy. Yeah. I think like the Bianca Belair shirt I did too, the EST one, I think that ended up at Hot Topic at one point too, or at least online.
So
But yeah.
that's one, and then obviously you've done some Bella Twin stuff, and I know Nikki wore
Yep.
it out, and that's crazy when you
Not
have
only that, but what was it, 2K23 or 2K24? She's wearing it in the game. And that just blew my mind.
and then obviously we got some Seth Rollins, some
Yep.
yeah, I know you worked on this, provided a bunch of the art on it, there. And so
I
and
was
then
gonna
and
say
then
I provided the art. The talented people at WWE Creative made it look even cooler. I just provided the picture. So there are times like and I always, there are a few times where I got to design the entire thing, but honestly, a lot of the stuff you see, it's like I can't take full credit because I provided the art, and then the people at at WWE made it look so much cooler, and stuff. So like that Seth one is a great example. Like it was just a picture, and then they made it look like just killer.
So then the reason why I bring this up is that obviously all these shirts are obviously of the superstar.
Mhm.
Some superstars wear their shirts and their merchandise, some don't. Seth Rollins comes out in his own attire
Right.
because he is a visionary and
Mhm.
he is, I'm
Mhm.
running out of jokes here for this one. As soon as I choke on my own words here. But excuse me, everybody. There's a joke in my head that's making me laugh. But one of the things is that like people can buy it, fans can buy it. Some wrestlers wear their merch, and what is that like for you? Because I have WWE shirts, I have shirts that you've done for independent wrestlers, and I'm wearing what you've done, and it like I don't have that. Like that doesn't exist in my world where I've never created something that somebody has worn. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. Technically, I did make a shirt for somebody to wear on an indie show, but not the point. They wore my logo. But
Mhm.
not so I actually cannot.
Hey, it
It,
counts
it,
as
it
far as
does.
I'm concerned.
It was great. Nobody knew it except me and Effie. It was great. Um, it was a crazy show. Great show. It was Butch vs. Gore for Primetime Wrestling. Awesome
Oh
show.
wow.
Really, really fun show. And then nobody knew, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's my logo. Yeah, like I was sitting next to me, I'm like, that's my logo. I run a podcast. It was a very funny moment. And the people who were running it didn't even know it until after. I'm like, dude, that was great. And it's on IWTV, so please go watch that special. But anyway, not the point here. But like, what is it like for you? Because there are people who are buying these shirts who are not the wrestlers, but are just fans, and they're wearing your design. I mean, it's just it blows my mind. Is
It
the point?
does. It did. Like I remember I went to a Monday Night Raw in Albany, um, and I saw somebody wearing the Bianca Belair shirt, and I had to stop her and say, "I'm sorry. I designed as like I made that the art for that shirt, and I'm just blown away that you're wearing it. And thank you." It was like um, I've seen it a few times. Actually, when I went to one of the TNA um, pay per views that happened to be in Albany, I think it was last year, 2024. No, 2024. Um, and I saw somebody wear one of my shirts, but it was the headlocked PCO shirt that was like the Hulk homage. And I'm like, I have to stop you because I haven't even seen that as a shirt. That's crazy and so cool. I drew that. um, so it's kind of the same thing as like when I see the this stuff in my hands. It's like it's one thing to create it, and it's another to kind of see it in the wild. And like yeah, seeing somebody wear it, whether it's on television, um whether it's talent, you know hell, what was it? I caught some of like Monday Night Raw, and I saw someone wearing my Penta shirt in like kind of the one corner. I'm like, ah, you know, the Penta era shirt. Um, and it's like those moments where it's like, wow, that's cool. Yeah, when I went to the ACW show, I saw one person wear the Cody shirt, the Finish the Story shirt. And I saw another wearing a WWE like Legends. So it's just like the group uh of just yeah, WWE legends. And it's just like, this is so weird. um
Again, it happened once in my life, and it's not even a comparison, but it's the closest thing is that somebody recognized me at a con for my podcast. And I'm like, oh
That's
shit.
awesome.
And I'm like, wow. He's like, yeah, dude, I've been watching you for like the last like 6 months. I'm watching all your interviews for this. And like, the guy brought up really things. He said, like, that was so interesting about this thing. I never knew this about this person. I'm like, no shit, man. And like, you sat down at my table while I was eating lunch and we were just speaking about stuff. And like, it was wild to me that somebody recognized me off of the internet. And I
Mhm.
know it sounds so weird and so simple, but like it's kind of like, you somebody's recognizing your work and recognizes you as a person off of something and they've never met you before.
Mhm.
It blew my mind. And it wasn't money. It wasn't even like fame. It was just like somebody recognizes me off of something. And
Mhm.
obviously knows my work, and it blew my mind. So I would imagine, but yours is much cooler. I'll just say that because having T-shirts that people are wearing and people are spending money to buy the shirt you designed and helped to create. I mean, that
Mhm.
is and somebody says, I want to wear this because I like the way it looks. It's so interesting and it must be so fulfilling. I mean, it has to be because you have to feel
It
like, man, somebody wants to buy my work and they want to spend money because they like the wrestler and they like the way this is done. Like this one right here, right? This is
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, and like I've seen a couple people wear that shirt on not in a while, but like I've seen some people wear that shirt on television, like just in the crowd, and it is like those that does. I am appreciative of whenever I get that opportunity that a shirt gets made that I helped make, or at least I provided art for. Um, that it yeah, that it was like it was created and that and people are like, yeah, I really want to wear that. That looks really cool. Like, yeah, I will vanity check a couple of the Instagram posts whenever I see a shirt, and I'll be like, if 90% of it is like, this is awesome, and the other one is like, meh, okay, I can take that. Yeah. you know? Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's it. It's like it is very nice that it because it checks off a lot of boxes on that front. It clearly makes WWE happy, you know. It hopefully makes the talent happy, and it made that fan happy, and that's all that matters to me when all's said and done. Is I just want, like I said, everyone deserves cool art, and if I can do my best, to provide that, even if it's like just a small thing, then cool, mission accomplished. And again, it's like whether it's for a multi-million or billion-dollar company or an indie promotion or somebody says, "Hey, I got this Christmas idea, like I want to give my wife for a Christmas present," you know, and that is just as fulfilling because I did do that recently. That was one of my things. That was like I had a friend that was like, "Hey, my wife, I have this idea for my wife, and we have this, and it's going to be, we want to do this, this, and this in it." I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm like having to piecemeal it together, and I piecemealed it together, and apparently she loved it. I mean, and that's it. It
So
is the reminder of why I do it.
I'm going to ask you a question about commissions. You know, and maybe this is my idea on custom wrestling and some other stuff that's customizable. Is
Mhm.
that everybody wants to be a director or a producer, a creator, a controller to some degree. So when I did my cover to when I got a commission, I wanted a certain style. One of my favorite covers of Zenoscope is Firefighter Sexy Samantha. It's a
Mhm.
girl, and then her breasts are covered by suspenders in front of the Flatiron Building. And I wanted to
Mhm.
do it with a character. And it's one of my favorite covers Zenoscope ever did. And I wanted a variation of that, right?
Mhm.
But I can't draw. And so like, somebody might say, look, I have an idea, and then I don't know, because it must be A, I mean, it's work for you. B, a client wants the idea. And then sometimes also I would imagine a client comes to you with an idea. You're like, I never thought of doing that way, right?
Mhm.
And it must be fun because then you're like, oh man, my brain now is approaching this differently. I don't know if you have that reaction with the commission, but you're like, man, I never thought somebody wanted this type of mashup, like
Mhm.
Donald Duck dressed as Captain America punching Mickey Mouse dressed as Thanos. I never thought about drawing that, and then like now you're
Oh,
like, oh my
you
god,
you
this is
just kind of unlocked because I actually did do something like that a few years ago. I had a guy who was um he was commissioning me over the internet, and he had me do because he would take I think he was like he would deliberately create mashups and he would just kind of draw two ideas off. Okay. And basically I had to create, and it's on my Instagram. You have to kind of scroll back a ways, but it was a mashup of Daredevil and My Neighbor Totoro. And so I drew Kingpin as Totoro and like the little girl, but Daredevil. So like Daredevil and Totoro, except Daredevil and the Kingpin at the bus stop. So yeah, there with some of these things, there's the mild sense of or acute sense of panic. Of like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? I don't know how I'm gonna tackle this. And then eventually I figure it out. Um
how do you think I wrote this interview? I'm like, I have no idea how the hell I'm gonna write this interview. And I'm like, great. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is gonna be great. Like,
Well, that was it.
I
Like
wrote
I
one.
was saying, like my wife was asking me, so what are you guys talking about in this podcast? I don't know. She's like, that's great.
I mean, I have legit questions, but I spent like I was speaking to my guest last night. I said I have no idea what I'm supposed to write for this interview. God help me! This is gonna be so interesting. Which is like the one time there's always one or two interviews a year where I'm like, I don't know how to do it. I gotta figure it out, and I better figure it out quickly before I sing.
Hmm.
Like so, like I get the fear of panic. I get the fear of panic completely.
Hmm.
Trust me, I'm sure Miami is feeling that after the college playoff. I'm sure of
Oh,
it. Too soon, too
but
soon. Anybody a Miami fan? Like, I'm so sorry, everybody.
who me?
Um,
Oh, I was like, yeah, nah. Um, uh, but yeah, no, it was um, I think it is like those moments, and you need those moments, and I've had that a lot where I was like, oh man, I don't know, but it at some point it kind of clicks and it kind of comes together, and and more often than not, like it results in like, yeah, this worked. And when it doesn't, like, well, I tried, kind of thing. Um, but that's just, it's kind of part and parcel. But I think like you said though, it does kind of unlock uh a little something. Like so actually another example, kind of going back to Headlocked, there are times where it's like I will attempt, hey, I need you to draw something in the style of somebody. So like you've seen like the homages. So like the Solo Darling was a whole cover homage, but I wasn't doing like this style of the artist. Um when so for the Tales for the Road trade paperbacks that Mike does through Kickstarters, um, he would have Jerry Lawler do the covers because Jerry Lawler is an amazing artist and he could do Rockwell, like a Norman Rockwell style, and that was sort of where the covers that was the vibe that Mike wanted for these. So Mr. Lawler would do them, and then he had a stroke and wasn't able to. So I was asked to draw them, do the next cover for the trade paperback in a style of like the Saturday Evening Post. And again, never did it before, and I think it came out all right. Mike seemed pleased with it. I just did the cover for the next volume that'll be coming out at some point. But again, I think when talking about unlocking it though, is like doing those kinds of things and going and doing like, so that was a much more painterly style. And I wasn't doing much painter stuff. I was doing a lot more comic book stuff. And that unlocked me doing a lot more painterly stuff. So like the Fanatics posters are much more in that, not necessarily like Rockwell, but yeah, I won't lie, I'm like a bit of a Drew Struzan mark. So like I definitely would take, inspiration from Drew Struzan and a little bit from, Norman Rockwell, a little bit from JC Leyendecker, and just kind of like, do my own little spin on it. But I think like doing the um doing that headlock cover and doing it in a style I've never done before, it was like, oh, I think I kind of like this. And so now I've been doing much more painterly stuff and that stuff I've never planned on doing before, which resulted in kind of getting to do more painterly stuff for WWE, um, and all that. And then, but also now still, and then also like now when I'm kind of still doing some comic booky stuff, kind of incorporating some painterly stuff in my comic booky stuff, and see where, and it's just been like, but it is that, yeah, you go down this one path I was not expecting. I mean, that's practically my career at this stage. I go down this one path I was not expecting, and it kind of bears some pretty cool fruit.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, again, I mean, I never expected to be down this path ever. If you told me 12 years ago I'd be down this path, I'd be like, yeah, probably not. So it's crazy, but that's
I was gonna say, I just wanted to be a penciler. Like when I started all this, I just wanted to, pencil. And when I started doing the web comics, I couldn't afford an inker, so I guess I'm going to learn how to ink. Couldn't afford a colorist, so I guess I'm going to learn how to color. And it was, those are those things where like I slowly learned how to like, be that like kind of jack of all trades kind of artist, where it's like I probably could have been like, if I had specialized in one thing, I'm sure I'd be really good at that one thing. But it turns out I'm just going to be like, let's say B plus at a whole bunch of stuff.
so there's so many things I could say. So many things I could say. But I will show you two of my favorite commissions you've done because I love the style on this one. And
Oh my gosh.
I love
That wasn't a commission. That was just, I just drew for fun.
even better.
I had done like around that time, and oh my god, 10 years ago. Hey, I saw there's like some sort of weird 2016, like what were you doing in 2016 thing that was going around on social media. So I guess that was what I was doing back then. No, I did. That was a period. Yeah, no, I just did that for fun. Like I did 3 of the 4 horsewomen. So I had not drawn Charlotte. I drew Sasha, I drew Bailey, and I drew Becky. Yep. And I sent that to Ed, and Bailey saw that, and she really liked it. And eventually, I sent that down to her, like to the Performance Center, her fan mail thing. Hopefully, she received it. And then fast forward, and I just did a Bailey shirt for her earlier. Was it late last year? So yeah, but so that, yeah, that was during that period again. That was like still like the cutting my teeth phase of it. And I should probably say, so I alluded to this before we started, but around the same time that I was like really starting to do my art as a career kind of thing, I was also trying my hand at the business as a professional wrestler here in upstate New York. And did that for about 2 years. And it was so much fun and only minor injuries. Um, but the things that I learned the most from that time in the business totally helped me as a comic book artist or just as an artist in general. One, always bring your gear because you never know when you're going to have a match. And you can apply that to always have a card ready because you never know if you're going to have to show your portfolio. Have your portfolio on your phone because you never know when you're going to have to show your portfolio. That certainly helped me get a few jobs by having that. Um, but also the cutting your teeth and doing jobs where it's like, yeah, you know what? You might get a hot dog, but you're learning and you are kind of building you're slowly building the career, and you have to do some of these jobs that like maybe pay for crap, maybe paid don't get paid at all. I one of my earliest projects was for a web series where I was actually being hired to do art for them. Was for a website called Drought Tales, and in there I was asked to do essentially illustrate a role playing game. So the group would kind of do the role playing game, and then eventually I would get a script, and then I would basically be given 3 days, if I'm lucky, to do essentially 3 pages worth of art, full color for $50. I learned, and I did it, and there were some spectacular failures during all that time too. But that again, part and parcel with wanting to do this for a living. It's like, hey, I'm not going to learn if I don't do some of these things, and I'm not going to grow if I don't like learn from the mistakes that I made. Mistakes I made in the like when I was doing web comics. Um, I learned to not do later on. Uh, and stuff that I learned from these small projects like led to getting better so that when other projects came along, I could build on that. And that would then lead on to the next and on to the next, and then, you know, so on and so forth. But all that stuff was like, yeah, those are moments of like, yeah, you just gotta cut your teeth, and you just gotta do it, especially early on. You're doing it for the love of the game because right now you might not be doing it for the cash, because again, you might in some cases, especially if you're brand new, and especially in this very competitive world right now, like wherever there's so many people trying to get.
Let me ask you a question
Sure.
about that, because you're no longer competing in America. You're competing globally as an artist.
Hmm.
In which that, I mean, you're competing with Brazil, you're competing with people in Spain, because, and this is the problem that people have in comics, especially with
Hmm.
comic covers, is that, their American artists are expensive. And a Brazilian artist might work on a cover for $150. So $150 in
Hmm.
Brazil goes a lot further than it
Hmm.
does in America. And, a cover artist in America on an indie level who's brand new might need $350 or $400 sorry,
Hmm.
to do the same work, because the living is a different standard of living. And it's not that they're trying to, nickel and dime you and be expensive, but it's just
Hmm.
that you can't make a living doing $150 covers. I mean, if your brand's big new, you want to bring in, you might, but
Hmm.
people in Brazil and maybe Spain and other places, Argentina, will work for less because the currency is better for them. A US
Hmm.
dollar goes further in their country, where $150 is more like $500 here. And as a
Yeah.
result of that, it's both good and bad, because I like competition. Competition forces better. It forces
Okay.
better art, forces people to become competitive and better and develop their skills, develop their style. But at the same time, I also get that, if you have 50 people competing for the same job, only one person gets the job. 49 people are all tied for last.
Mhm.
So, like, I mean, I'm just curious how you feel about that because, I'm only looking in, and I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if it's a reality or if there's a job for everybody. I don't know.
Well, yes and no. I mean, like you are right. There is a job for everybody. Like it may not be a high profile job. It might not be something that but a job is a job. Like I'm not like when I was saying like about Drought Tales as the example, like it was $50, but it was $50 more than I was making. And it was a it was something to add to the resume. Um, but yeah, as far as like the competing globally, there I get a lot of people. The I the what I hear from like those kinds of things, like I can't stress over that. I can only do what I can do. To open up another potential can of worms here, but it's the same thing when everyone asks me, because I get it a lot, is like, do I worry about AI? And I'm like, I can't, because those that either, I don't fault like I don't fault the company if they want, whether it's especially if it's a small company that doesn't have a lot of money, that they choose to find talent that, or however, that is more affordable to them than hiring me. Whenever and before um the with the what's going on with AI right now, was like, say you could hire somebody off of Fiverr.com. And in that sense, that was competition for me. It's like, yeah, they could hire me, but if I'm too expensive, well, I can just go to Fiverr. Like, cool, go ahead. I don't
Do,
fault
do,
you.
so,
I
so
hope that you
what I was gonna say is that it's the same thing with a lawyer, right?
Mhm,
It's there are different prices for different lawyers,
mhm,
and if you have a real legal problem, and you're in a big corporate war or merger, you need an expensive lawyer, and you need the best of the best. And usually, an expensive lawyer is the best of the best. Not all,
mhm,
but a lawyer that's been around for 40 years might be charging you 1,000 an hour, but the reason why they're charging you 1,000 an hour is that they do this. They've been doing it for the last 40 years. You're going to get what you pay for. And
mhm,
so if you want a name, because sometimes it's a name. If I want a comic cover by Doug Hills, I think your name is going to carry weight. Once people look up, and it might help my book. But if I can't
mhm.
afford you, that's okay too. It's nothing against your artwork. It's just that I might have a budget if I'm doing a comic or a project, and that budget is only $100 or it's only
Mhm.
$200. And if I can't afford you at the moment, doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to afford you in the future. It just means at the
Right.
moment I got to work with what I got. And
Also, I was gonna say, and even like using me, I'm relative. Like, yeah, I say I might be more expensive than this person, but I'm less. I'm probably less expensive than Daniel Warren Johnson or Phil Noto. Those, like the big, like anybody that, like, or that's like, say, that is at Marvel or DC as a well known name kind of thing. By comparison, I don't have a name. I have a name in certain circles, but not in others. So therefore, I could be seen as like, yeah, like
it
you're charging awfully high compared, like for
also
someone
I'll
who's not been on a book,
I'll
kind of
throw
thing.
something out there too that's already interrupt, but also timing. It could very
Mhm,
well be that money's not the problem. It's just that I need something done in 3 months and you have no openings.
mhm,
And that means that I love your work, but if you have no openings because you're booked, I mean that's just the reality of it too, right? So
mhm,
like, I mean, not to open up a can of worms. Sometimes it's not money. I mean, I was trying to hire an artist for something, and they had no openings, and so I went with somebody else, and it was the same price. It was just that person B had an opening and person A didn't, and
mhm,
both were the same to me who designed my logo relatively cheaply. I mean, it was like a $50 logo, but
mhm,
like person B just had an opening and person
mhm,
A it couldn't get me what I needed to, and I was launching something that I needed my logo for, and it had nothing to do with good, bad, and different. And I
Yeah.
like my logo, but like if I need something else from somebody, I'm a person A who I still like. They want to do something, great. But like that, that's it too, right? It's like sometimes it's just timing.
Oh,
It's
absolutely. And, one of the things I sometimes have to I personally have to be careful of is like, I got to learn occasionally to say no because sometimes I'll overbook myself and I don't want to do that. Like, there are times where I think I'm like a little almost the overconfidence. Plus, also, and any freelancer out there knows this, or anybody who's self-employed knows this. Like, oh, and you can have feast or famine moments. And like, while right now I am flush with work, uh, like back in 2024, there was a period where it's like, well, gas station down the road's hiring, kind of thing. It's like you don't know. Kind of going back to even like talking about talking about employment and stuff like that. There is no safety net when you're a freelancer. I'm very fortunate that and my wife is a professor, but even then, like she had a moment like the college that she taught at closed in 2019. They ran out of money. She was very fortunate that she found there was another college that was hiring not long after. But yeah, so there was that. But for me, it's like, yeah, I will have like high highs and low lows. Like I will be flush with like, let's say WWE work, and then maybe I won't hear from them for a few months. That's
it's interesting you bring it up. I run an eBay business,
mhm,
and I am having a year in 2025 where it is rough. It is a
mhm.
rough entity. 2024, I was moving so much stuff that I legitly had to put money on my credit card, and I had to max out my credit card because I was buying and selling so much stuff. I had no liquidity because it takes 3 days for cash to clear on eBay. So what was going on, it was moving so fast that
Wow.
legitly I had to max out. And I paid my credit card off within like 6 days after, but I essentially
Right.
needed 6 day bridge loan. And it
Wow.
wonderful. It was wonderful and it was crazy. But like people didn't understand, and I don't think people understand what night terrors look like during that like weeks. I was screaming every night in my sleep due to stress because it is incredibly stressful because you have money, but you don't have your cash isn't clearing for three
Yeah.
days because it's just payment processing. It's the craziest situation I've ever been on a
Mhm.
monetary level because and like eBay wanted to give me money. My credit card was happy to give me money. Everybody was happy to give me money because they knew it was going to be paid back with no interest. Like
Right.
literally, no banks made any money off of me during those like 3 to 4 weeks because I was paying back the money so fast that I was borrowing that the borrowing didn't even process before I paid it back.
Jeez.
It's the most insane economic situation you could possibly have, where you pay back
Mhm.
the loan before the loan is even documented.
That's that's crazy.
This is what was going on. It was moving so fast, so I understand exactly what feast and famine looks like
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
a hyper level, and then
Mhm.
it's not fun. It's not fun. It's
No, and it's funny, like, there are times where I have constant stress, and it will go from the stress of not having any work to and how am I gonna pay bills, to how am I gonna get all this work done? And it's sort of the same level of stress. You know? There's a reason I used to have a red beard. I wanna say
my
it's because
hair.
I just turned 50, but
My hair, so maybe you can't see it. It used to be fully brown. It's becoming
mhm,
grayer and grayer and grayer, and I'm 33. I just turned 33, and like about on January 10th, 11 days ago, and man, by the time I'm 40, my whole hair is going to be straight out gray, and it's the reason why due to stress, due to all of this, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and I know it, and I'm gonna look like an old
mhm.
man, gray hair and that
I
I'm just gonna
I was
take
looking at a
the
video of me from like just was it 5 years ago? Because I had done some video tutorials for what was Manga Studios, now Clip Studio Paint, for a company called Graphicsly, and I did like some videos to start it off. And I'm looking, I was like, oh man, I had a red beard. But yeah, life comes at you fast, or at least over 5 years or 6 years.
so
Um,
my beard hasn't gone gray. It's just my hair here that is. This is not gray.
yeah,
This
well,
is
I don't
fine.
have this anymore, so
I'm gonna be taking the Dave Batista approach soon enough, anyways. So we're going that way anyhow. But it's terrible. It's just terrible. But I digress. On that point. But obviously, I do want to talk about Star Wars because you've done these, which
oh
are all
yes.
you've done these. You done. I still don't know who this guy is. I mean, but you know what it is? He seems like he would be in camp with Rey Mysterio, being a deadbeat dad. So
It's Indiana
I'm,
Jones.
I'm just saying that he just gives me that vibe here. And you've done this one too. And so what's the story behind this? Because it's all digital cards and
Mhm,
it's the digital side of Tops. And Tops is a
mhm.
fascinating company, and they've been doing Star Wars forever, and absolutely fascinating to do digital cards and reward cards and all sorts of stuff. And what is that like for you? Because it's a whole different sphere.
Yes and no. I mean, well, getting to do Star Wars. I mean, again, um, not knowing where some of these avenues are going to go. Like, I think it was like the um, getting that opportunity because when I started doing digital cards, ironically, was WWE before I officially started doing freelance work with WWE. So it was WWE through Tops. Um, then from there, yep. And then I got the chance to do Marvel's digital cards, which finally, in a sense, yep. Um, Fun
That's
fact, I got to yeah, I was gonna say that
you're
was
going.
sort of
That's
online.
Marvel.
Yes. Fun fact, like I got to give that Storm uh drawing to Allison Healy Smith, the voice of Storm at Comic Con, because it was like when I found out the voice actors were going to be at Comic Con, I did it last year or 2024, and then I got to do it again for some that I missed in 2025. So I met Cal Dodd, who was Wolverine, and Allison Healy Smith, who was Storm, and I gave them their artwork. And I was like, if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here right now as an artist, because it was the X-Men cartoon that got me started down this, and they were, obviously, they were one part of the whole some of that show that got me hooked into superheroes, and one to that, then having my friend like, oh, if you like this, here are comics, and that's what kind of really got me going. And then this past New York Comic Con, I got to meet Lenore Zahn, who was the voice of Rogue, um, and I met the voice of Jean Grey, and again, I got to chat with them and thank them, and it was really cool to do that. Um, so yeah, so getting to do Marvel, which was it was that if you want to talk about like, oh, finally I got to do Marvel officially. Like it when I got that um offer, I almost like broke down because I'm like, oh my, because I'd been working so hard. And then obviously, I'm still not working on a Marvel comic, but I got to work on Marvel. I was like, I'll take that. And and then getting that chance later on to get to do DC was like,
So
you know,
let me ask you this about the Marvel stuff because I'm a card collector, and I'm a big card collector. My eBay business is I sell cards, I loan cards. Indoctrinated into it. Huge
Mhm.
Tops fan. I do a lot of business with Tops, and I know people who don't open up Marvel comics, but they're over the hill with Marvel cards from
Hmm.
Tops, like Marvel Studio, Marvel Chrome, X-Men 97, which was a
Mhm.
fun set. I traded in my Tiffany Stratton's MVP cards to get myself an X-Men 97. Um, I bought the
Nice.
bases off of eBay for like $5 and they were worth 20 a piece. And same thing with Jey
Wow.
Uso. Great trade for me. Great trade for me. Turning 5 into 20 just like that. And then buying cards. But it wasn't a good box. But it was not a good. It was a fun trade, but not a great trade.
Mhm.
Ultimately, but I digress. The point I'm making is that you know because the reason why I may bring this up is that you're working on a Marvel project, and I don't know if people because I know so many people who enjoy Marvel, but they have no desire to open up a comic book, but they know all of this stuff about superheroes, but they don't, and so like I feel like you're exposed to the Marvel universe without having
Mhm.
to draw a Marvel comic. And I know it sounds weird, but like it's a much bigger entity than just the comics at this point.
Oh,
And
for
I don't
sure.
think you need to draw to say I draw for Marvel anymore.
No. But I mean, and the irony was like one of the last sets I did for Marvel Digital was they said you could have like, you know, chef's choice. What do you want to draw? It's like, I want to draw the X-Men. So I finally got to draw the X-Men. So I got it was a set of basically it was like the original crew. So it was I think I even got to draw Gambit, and nobody gets to draw Gambit. It's like apparently because I don't know what it was. It's like, can I get to draw Gambit? It's like, well, we got to find out if it's okay. Okay, it's okay. Sweet. So, because Gambit was my guy. Um, but it was like cool. Like a very nice full circle moment of getting to draw the X-Men, the people that got me into this whole world. Um, and so it was very, very cool to do that. And then from there, to kind of go back to where you were asking me to start this, was then approached by the folks at Star Wars. And again, all these things like these are all of the stuff that I've been doing has been like this was not on my bingo card. Like working for WWE was not in my radar. It was when I was like a wrestler, and I said, and you'll appreciate the irony. I had said that like because I had people that wanted to like do the tryouts for WWE at the time. I said I think I would rather try to make a name for myself on the indies. I like if I had gone down that path as a wrestler, I would have done the indie route, try to go to Japan, try to go to Europe, and really and make such a name for myself that WWE would reach out and you know want to work with me. Ironically, that's kind of what happened. It just happened to be with art. Um, that I made a name for myself on the indies, and then WWE reached out. Um, but that was like I never, like I said, I just wanted to draw comics. I just wanted to draw for Marvel, DC. I just wanted to be a comic book artist. So that wasn't on the radar. Star Wars definitely wasn't on the radar, and yet here I was getting this chance to draw Han Solo, you know, and drawing Obi-Wan Kenobi and both versions, um, and a baby Ewok, and which made my wife very happy, and getting to do stuff that like, and again, like and they're just giving me more cards and I'm doing such a good job with them that like there's some cool stuff that'll be I think coming down the pike that I'm looking forward to that I can't talk about. I will leave it at that teaser. um but it's like I don't know, and it's been so cool, and from what I understand, it's kind of funny. because most of the stuff you've been doing is like, like with cards, it's like physical cards. And here I'm working with stuff that's only in the various trading card apps on your phone. And like there's that part I was like going, how does that work? Because it's not like they're NFTs or anything like that. It's just literally within the Topps app ecosystem. And yet people are still trading and exchanging money, I think, um, to get cards. I don't merely to the, price of
I
like
mean,
physical cards,
it's
but
beyond me. I'm a crypto guy. I'm a crypto guy.
mhm,
I'm a Ethereum guy. I'm not an NFT guy. I don't. I had a bad experience with an NFT, and I like digital assets. To be honest, I'm a big stock
mhm,
guy, so I get all
mhm,
that. But like cards for me, it's supposed to be the balance, right? That's why it's a physical item, right?
mhm.
It's one thing for me to have a digital copy of my cards, but I don't view them the same way that I view a PSA 10 of something like graded
Right.
cards. Because it's a
Yeah.
hard set for me, and like that's my whole thing, right? And I just like I like holding cards. I like ripping packs. It's like my favorite
Mhm.
thing. I like educating about cards. I mean, I just for those who don't know, I mean, I just put it in a Facebook group. I just pulled this out. I mean, I was waiting
Nice.
for about 20 weeks for it. It's a 1 of 5 70 Volcare card. Super
Mhm.
expensive. Super expensive. Somebody on eBay is asking 5G for it, which is wild. I don't think it's worth 5G. If it is, mine is going up there too for that price. Because 5 grand might get me to WrestleMania, in Vegas. Um, but not the point. For 5 grand, I could buy a lot of other WWE cards.
Yeah, I was
For
gonna say.
as much as I like Stephanie Volcare, unless she likes the post, and then I really can't sell it, I'll just get it graded because it'll be a
Right.
sick. That thing's a PSA. You're looking at like 8K,
Wow.
easy, on it,
But
considerably.
yeah,
But that's the point.
I
But
was
like
gonna
I
say, I
can't.
think
My
I
FedEx
was gonna
guy
say, oh, go ahead.
opens up the package. I'll tell the story, right? So package was damaged, and he says, "Hey, before you sign for this, make sure everything's okay." And I'm like, "I'm checking it out. Just give me 2 minutes, man. I'm looking at it. Looks all fine. Everything seems right." And I signed for it. And I said, "Dude, you see this? Super expensive card, right?" And so the point is that again, I like physically holding that card because
Mhm.
it's really cool. It's really cool to hold that card because I know there's only 5 people in the world who have it, and there's
Right.
2 of us who are known now. One of them's on eBay, and I'm the other, and then there are the other 3, and then somebody has the 10 of 10, and he's now known, and there's 16 of these cards in the world.
And you're
So
gonna end up all going to like whatever WWE's equivalent to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, apparently. So
what we should all figure out how to do is we should all figure out how to have a dinner with Stephanie Volcare. That's what we
there
should
you
all
go.
do because it'd be so funny if we all just wear it like Logan Paul around our
Oh
neck,
gosh.
and then but we don't tell her, and we have WWE film it, and then it's like the
Mhm.
ultimate like social media prank because she'll just be like at
Oh,
the head
that's so
of the table in her like horn thing, and she'll be like, "You all have this card that I signed? What the hell?" Like it'd be such a troll. It'd be so brilliant though. But it's not a mean troll. She'd be like,
No, no. And
it'd
so I was gonna say, I think so. The thing that and it's certainly I'm certainly not knocking how the digital app works. I mean, because clearly people enjoy it, and I'm glad. Kind of, I'm just like I will admit, it's like I'm assuming there's like some level of artificial scarcity kind of thing. I mean, obviously, yes, not
yeah,
the same as like physically owning, but however the ecosystem works, I really don't know. But I'm glad that those that are using the apps like the cards that I've made there. And that, again, kind of like all the other stuff, it's like, I'm just glad you guys, like what I'm putting out into the world. And then, yeah, getting these chances to do things that I never expected to do. I'm very lucky and very fortunate that I have I've had these opportunities, and that I'm doing a good enough job where they want to keep working with me is I can't really ask for anything better than that. But yeah, kind of like we were saying, like way back, it's like it could all end tomorrow one way or the other, but I appreciate and am enjoying the ride, however long this ride goes, kind of thing. And hopefully it will lead into, you know, just yeah, I don't even know. I'm not even gonna maybe it'll lead into. I have no idea what the future's going to hold, so I'm just going to enjoy it and see
Fair enough.
where things go.
Fair enough. And then I want to talk about one more thing
Sure.
because I like Macross, and that's which she lost the baby, guys. She lost the baby. It was quite upsetting. She lost the baby, and then this here is also, Macross that you've done, and I don't know
Mhm.
if they were commissions or they were just for fun,
They were
but
just for fun. No, nobody else. Like I was. This was these. Those were literally for me. Um, like I was like, I was always team Lisa slash Misa on that particular love triangle. So I was like that character. Um, and Robotech was, without even realizing what anime was at the time, I think it was like one of the first, well, certainly the first cartoon I watched where a character died. Spoilers for a 40-plus-year-old show. Uh, but it's like, so like it was during that period where it's like I didn't know that some of these shows were like like Japanese cartoons. Like I watched Voltron, I watched Transor Z, uh, and I watched Robotech, and I always gravitated towards the Macross Saga. And then I was not into the new generation, and then I was then into um the last one with the Invid, or no, I guess no. So that's that
so it was
Southern Cross was the second chapter.
yeah, Southern Cross, so it was the second with
Hmm.
Max's daughter, one of them, and then
Yeah.
the new gen was Scott Bernard,
Yep.
and
Actually, I
I
got the little cyclone, transformable cyclone I got from like Entertainment Earth.
I have one of those rare ones of Max's blue unit that's like
Oh.
BF like 1A. I
Hmm.
want it at a Harmony Gold New York Comic Con event, or like not New York Comic Con, maybe like Anime like Fest, whatever it was. It was
Hmm.
cool, right? Really enjoyed it. And then I also won my Shadow Chronicles there, and I had Tony Oliver on it.
Oh, nice.
So he puts to the stars.
Mm.
So super cool, right? Super cool. Because again, I mean, I'm 33, so I didn't watch Macross when it was dropping, right?
Hmm.
Much later, old school anime, love it. I have the Protoculture box, the blue one, with all of the
Oh,
good stuff
nice.
there. So like Robotech 3,
Hmm.
whatever it is, the Sentinels with a
Oh
bunch.
yeah, Robotech 2. Hmm.
Yeah. So there's Robotech 2, there's Macross 2. And then my
Yep.
favorite thing I bought ever from Robotech was the swimsuit edition, because there are shirtless men in the swimsuit edition. And it's like Sports Illustrated, but I just love how you have all of them across like Southern Cross and Macross and parts of New Gen, and you have both the men and the women. And I love how
Uh-huh.
it's equal. I'm all about equality. Part is the centerfold is of Lin Minmay, and it's not,
Hmm.
but it's like a print, and it's a $12 book, and
Right.
you buy the book because it's like the greatest book ever, and you
Oh,
don't
that's
care
funny.
copy. You just want to like go through to like, this is great, because
Hmm.
you could smell your childhood. Like,
Oh yeah.
and then you open it up and then you see the centerfold. You're like, this is what it means to be like a 13-year-old boy again. This is exactly what it means to be a 13-year-old boy again. And this is
Oh,
great.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was like it definitely it did shape me. And even like when I had Jetfire, like the Transformer, I realized, wait a minute, this is a Veritech fighter. And so I basically used Jetfire as a Veritech fighter. And then it was like later on, like when I was in college, that I kind of discovered like the original subs, like the original Macross series, and like, oh my god, this is even better. It's like, and then like I was like, actually, I kind of got back into it when I was watching the Macross Plus OVAs.
That was
And
good.
if you haven't seen the, huh?
Bryan Cranston was in the original of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was when I started like kind of getting college was when I started getting back into anime. Speaking of Bryan Cranston, he was also in the Street Fighter 2 movie, animated movie, and that's what got me really back into anime. Um, and then I was like kind of like then I was going back and like kind of rediscovering Macross, and I finally watched the Do You Remember Love movie, which was like, oh my god, it was so leagues like just the art and animation. Like I loved like the original series, but oh my god, that was a gorgeous movie. Have you seen that?
I have not. I have not
Go
because
check YouTube.
yeah, I'm not anti it. It just hasn't happened, you know. So so
Hmm.
so so. But I was rereading the Macross comics that were being put out by
Hmm.
Titan, and that was great.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think they did a fantastic job, and I really enjoyed that.
I'll have to
And
go
I
back and check
enjoyed the
those out.
covers. I enjoyed the covers. I enjoyed what they did with it. I mean, they went deep, and there's
Hmm.
some good stuff in there that they've gone through and analyzed and done, and beautiful art, beautiful covers. I mean, I think Adam Riches did some stuff on that, with the
Nice.
action stuff, or maybe it wasn't Adam Riches. I forgot who it was. But somebody did some action figure covers for that. Maybe it was
Mm.
Adam Riches. Now that I think about it, because he did the WWE action figure stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Had a bunch of Johnny Gargano's gear.
Oh, yep. Okay.
So
Nice.
so he's been on this show. So he's great. He's great. He did Mickey James's WrestleMania gear at
Oh,
WrestleMania, like
nice.
with like the Native American inspired gear.
Hmm.
Awesome, right? But the point is that I forgot who did somebody. There's like 4 or 5 people do action. No, Blair Shed did the Robotech stuff. My bad.
Okay.
But they're awesome. They look like the toys from like the 80s.
I do remember seeing those covers. But yeah, no, I don't know if I ever got a chance to actually check out the comics now, but
Just
I do
comic
remember the covers.
just comicsology it. I think it's like comicsology. Spend the $5 on Amazon. You know,
Hmm.
whether you like Amazon or not, you really can't be comicsology if you want to read a bunch of
No.
comics.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I hear that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it's a bad word. I'm a practical human being who if I can read legitly 50 comics a month for $5 digitally, and then if I really like it, I'll buy it physically.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
no, I get that. It's like kind of going back to the affordability of things. It's like going, yeah, I've gotten to the stage where it's like where I used to, and I remember I'm old enough to remember like when floppy monthly comics were like a buck and a half, buck and a quarter. And then thinking like Wizard Magazine was like way too expensive at $5. And now that like monthlies are like around $4 or $5, I'm like, I'll wait for the trade, you know,
You
kind of
you
thing.
you don't even know the half of it. Kickstarter, so it could go from $10 to $15 for a cover A, plus shipping, and then all of a sudden it's a nightmare on Kickstarter, and then it's like 5, $6 for something. Sometimes it's $8. Like there gets a
Hmm.
point where it's like I gotta pick and choose what I can afford. I mean, I'm a big anime guy, and I love my Crunchyroll. It's like $80 a year, right? I get really unlimited anime. There is more anime that I can watch in a given
Oh
year
yeah.
on Crunchyroll. And like same thing with my Netflix and same thing with my Peacock. And it's just like there's only so much I can afford. And
Hmm.
and, and it's like I'd rather buy ESPN to watch the Royal Rumble than buy a bunch of people's comics because I'm gonna get more enjoyment out of the Royal Rumble and
Mhm.
WWE Network or whatever, or Netflix, whatever, whatever we're looking at, than I'm gonna get out of your comic. I'm gonna get,
Mhm.
between, I mean, Netflix, I get Monday Night Raw, which is 12 hours a month, maybe 15 some months. It's like I'm not getting 15 hours out of somebody's comic book.
Right.
I hate to be sounding like a dick on it, but it's like it's just economic money,
Mhm.
and it sucks, right? It's the same reason why when we go back to those WWE prints signed by Tiffany Stratton or John Cena or The Undertaker, you know, somebody might get more enjoyment. They're going to put it on their wall. They're going to frame it. They're going to enjoy it, and there you go, right? And that's where this all goes back to, you
Mhm.
know. So I mean that's my whole viewpoint and that's my whole position is that I think everything in life right now is about that, and it's unfortunate because comicsology is affordable,
Mhm.
and they do a hell of a job for me to read stuff, and I don't think it's so unethical to read digital at an affordable price.
Oh, I want, as somebody who started off creating digital comics and had to go through the period of the mid early to mid 2000s as the industry was starting to shift towards that to get a lot of blowback about digital comics and web comics not being real comics. um I experienced that kind of at San Diego 2005, just as an attendee, but like just seeing how web comics were treated as the redheaded stepchildren there. Um, and even treating like, because I've been drawing digitally since 2000. Like I can draw physical, but I have been every single I think I've tried every single piece of hardware that you could create art with, whether it was a drawing tablet, and I started off with this really dinky, like iMac green, like 3x5 drawing tablet. And then I went to bigger ones, and then I have a Cintiq now. Um, and my primary thing right now is an iPad. Like all, trade secret. Most of the stuff you see that I've put out there, I created on an iPad. And it's like that is like been the best arting tool that I've been. But I've tried tablet PCs. I've tried all this different stuff. I've tried all different kinds of software. Whether it was Photoshop or drawing in. Hell, I think I tried not Dreamweaver. Flash. I was drawing in like vectors before that was a thing. I was trying Manga Studio before it even made it to the States. Um, I imported that in. Then I was trying all the iterations of Sketchbook. I was trying all these different things because I just wanted to. This is how I just envisioned doing my work. And then the amount of times where I was saying, well, that's not real art was like, okay. That is a choice kind of thing. But I had to do that. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's like I love my comics. I used to have like a few long boxes. Now I have like a half a long box of my most essential comics from the 90s, like my high school college era that I hold on to. But the rest is like I have I like any bookshelf space is like either trades. But if I want to read monthlies, I just read it on my iPad because it's convenient.
For me, and I've been saying this, is that there are four things dictating media. First off, it's big libraries. So anything that has a big library is dictating it. So Peacock, Netflix, Paramount,
Mhm.
Amazon, those all have Disney, all have big libraries of content. That's the first thing that's dictating things. Comixology has a big library of
Mhm.
content. The second thing is that it's price in a lot of ways. And
Mhm.
then it's also the idea, when can I read it, watch, and enjoy it, right?
Mhm.
So can I read it on a Tuesday at 3 in the morning? And that's a big issue, right? So Peacock's a good example. I like Law and Order, right?
Mhm.
And I go Law and Order SVU. I can watch that whenever I want to watch it after it airs. I'm starting on 9 o'clock the next day.
Mhm.
Very useful. So I don't have to watch Captain Benson in her next case when it's airing. I
Mhm.
don't have to watch it during the time they want me to watch it. I can watch it whenever I want to. And that's why I like Peacock, because now I can watch the show I want to watch at a time that's convenient for me and not at a time that's convenient for them. Very helpful, you
Mhm.
know. And then, it's also just where can you watch it? And it's
Mhm.
customizable too, right? So obviously I can't customize the Law and Order show. So I
Right.
can't, I want this angle over here, and I want this police officer to get shot and die. I can't do that.
Right.
Okay. But I definitely can customize certain aspects of how I want to watch it. But
Mhm.
whenever I could, that's the big deal right there. Those four things are dictating media. And so anytime you can do any of that, and like the whole digital distribution, I think has changed the game. Big libraries, and I can get access to a bunch of stuff. And I don't even think it's digital comics per se. I just think it's digital distribution,
Mhm.
because it's just I, and also it's like, where am I going to put all my shit? I have a lot of long boxes that I want to get rid of, and I have a lot of
Mhm.
books. I got a lot of books. I've been a manga collector since I was 7. I'm 33. It's a lot of manga, a lot of it. I mean, we're talking
Mhm.
probably about 70 banker boxes worth.
Mhm. Oh, I was
Problem.
gonna say it's like on Shonen Jump, like the Jump app has been like my favorite
Four
thing to
bucks a
read.
month.
Yep, and I got
$4.
to read all of Chainsaw Man. So,
I'm on a One Piece drive at that on my
oh,
iPad.
so but in another like 10 years, you should finally catch up. That's a
Mm,
long,
I,
that's
I
a
do about
long series, isn't it?
I do 50 chapters a week.
Oh, all right, never mind. You're good.
So you do
So
50
5 years
chapters
then.
50 chapters a week. You know, 50 weeks. I mean, I'm gonna be caught up in the next like 4 months.
Oh, okay.
Because they're only on chapter like 1300, right? So
Mhm.
by pretty much
That's
by
true. Yeah.
June, by June I'm gonna be caught up. So it's because they only release one chapter a week. So it's
Mhm.
the anime, you're fucked. That
Yeah.
that you can't do it in the anime. It's I've given up on the anime. It's I'm golden. I'm not in there. I was just at
Mhm.
Starbucks, and so it's like, "Oh, I'm watching on One Piece." I said, "Yeah, I'm not with you, man. I'm not with you." To like the barista, he's like, "Dude, you sort of like my Dragon Ball Z shirt." And then we were talking about One Piece. I said, "I'm not with you on the One Piece drive, man. I'm not there." And he just started laughing. So
Yeah,
so
that is a level of dedication that I just am not able to dedicate that much time. I mean, I think reading the manga is much more doable. Um,
it is.
Same thing as
It's
like, I I should check out Berserk at some point too, and yeah, it's like, that's a big undertaking too, but
It's 18 pages takes me about 12 minutes on a
Mm,
bad day in manga. So I could tear through a lot of manga. So I could sit down for like 3 hours sipping my whiskey when I used to drink, and I'm on a hiatus, but I'll get back to drinking and I'll spend 3 hours sipping my whiskey reading One Piece. And then
mhm,
you start at chapter one and you just go through the whole thing and you just bang it out on your iPad. It's
mhm.
3 hours on a Thursday night during not football season. Yeah, you'll get through One Piece pretty quickly.
And I think like with all of this, like to kind of in a weird way, just kind of tie everything up in a nice bow. It's like it all boils down to personal value. I mean, some of it is money, but what is your personal value on this? Whether it's like, you know, taking advantage of streaming services or streaming like comic services or stuff, or collecting one of five, trading cards, or getting a print, or a t-shirt or any of these things, it's like, what, and what is your personal, because that's all it really boils down to, is like, is what does it mean to you? What is your personal value towards
I
this
will
thing?
tell you
There's a
exactly the
certain.
trading card. I will tell you the
Mhm.
exact answer to the trading card. I got lucky. It was random.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the answer on the 1 of 5 trading cards. I got
No,
lucky, and that's it.
that's it though. But it's like, but in that those are those moments of like, yeah, and this is cool. Like that you get those moments, and that, like, yeah, you could resell it or you could hold on to it because it's a special thing to you. Um, and I know, like, I know people that, like, I had a friend of mine who used to, when he would collect like wrestling figures, he would never take them out of the boxes. He would just kind of hang all the boxes like along his wall. Meanwhile, I'm like big Transformer nut, and I'm like, as soon as I get them, I'm ripping them open and playing with them. They're the best fidget toys. You know? But
I'll give you an example, right? I've bought limited edition watches, and I wear those watches, and I view them as a fashion accessory. And when I bought them because I like the way they look, right?
Mhm,
I don't really care. I bought some of these. They're like a $400 watch. Some of them are like a $1,200 watch, right? It's not about the money. It's that I like the way the watch looks, and I bought a watch that was $150, and I like the way the watch looks. It looks like
mhm,
an odometer on a car, and when people see it, they're like, "Dude, that's sick." Like,
mhm.
it looks like your odometer on your car, and when it lights up, you're like, "Dude, that's a sick watch." So, like, that's the yeah, like, yeah, I know it's a cool watch. It's
Mhm,
awesome, right? But, like, that I value it because it just looks sweet, and when it's on my
mhm.
wrist, it looks like a car's odometer, and then I bought a
Nice.
and then I bought a watch that the presentation of it is amazing. It comes in a box, and it's a feature watch that has a roulette on the inner watch face. It has the black and red roulette wheel, and
Mhm.
it's from a company out in Vegas teamed up with G-Shock, and the band is casino wood color. The
Oh,
green
nice.
is the roulette, like, number
Mhm.
table stuff, and then it's that roulette thing, and the box is sick because it's a box that has a latch. You open it up, and it has the roulette numbers on the inner, and it has, like,
Oh,
red velvet
nice.
there, and it's a sick watch, and my sister got it for me, like, 2 years ago for Christmas, and I said to her, "I don't think you understand. I'm gonna open this up, everybody. It's a whole presentation." And my
Mhm.
favorite part of the watch is that it's a G-Shock, so it lights up and it says "Life is good" when it lights up.
Nice.
And
That's
so
awesome.
and the watch is a reminder that you could click that button and it says "Life is good," and it's sick. And then the point though is that the watch is a presentation from start to finish.
Mhm.
But I bought it because I like it, and every time I look at it, I'm like, "That's just a sick watch." I don't really care. I don't know what it's valued at. I'm not interested in selling it. I like wearing it.
Mhm.
And I have a
That's it.
SpongeBob.
I mean, that's ultimately what matters, I think, is what the the thing that you are into, what it means to you, and I think that, um so you had asked me a while back, like, what is it like to see people wearing like my shirts, or getting like the cards or whatever. And I think it is like, it meant enough to them that they wanted it, you know, and that in turn kind of means a lot to me, just like, I yeah, in a weird way, kind of go back to the Transformers. I was like, I talked to at Comic Con. I talked to one of the engineers that helped kind of like design how like Thundercracker, for example, was built and stuff. And it was just like, yeah, it's like, it's remember, like, yeah, that person crafted, it's a toy, but that person crafted or helped engineer it, and to see, I'm sure he has a level of pride that, like, people are like, yeah, this thing looks awesome. It looks just like the cartoon, and it all this different stuff. And they're going, that's important. Like that, those are the things. And even like when to hear that and to see that appreciation and that enjoyment. And I even had that from just the fact that when I talk to, I've had clients, like, corporate clients kind of thing, like, and I would just say thank you. And I was told, like, you don't know how much that kind of like is like, it means a lot to them too, especially when you are talking like corporate entities and large things. And, if they are being scorned by people, like, clearly there are some people that are not WWE fans. And, on some level that's gotta like, like, so to have people like, no, I appreciate you guys, on this kind of like, for this, because we're all human beings and we're all doing the best we can, and we all have our jobs and stuff. And, to what you said a while back, pleases and thank yous go a long way.
They do. They really do, and they help a lot. They help a
Mhm.
they do. When somebody says thank you to me, it means a lot. When somebody shoots me a message and says, "Hey, thank you for having me on," goes a long way. And I'll say it, and I've said it before. I would say that only 50% of the people who come on my show actually say thank you. And it bewilders me because it's free.
Well,
It
let me
bewilders.
make sure that,
Yeah, no,
to
no,
put
no, no,
this
you
on
don't
the
have to.
public
You don't have
record. Oh, no, no, I was gonna anyway, but we're gonna put this on the public record. Thank you very much for inviting me. This was cool. Like, I really, um, like I said, I went in this entirely blind. I didn't know what we were going to talk about, and I think this has been a very fun. Oh my god, 2 hour conversation.
Yes, yes. So I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself, and in that promotion, you do have to say who's going to win the Royal Rumble. Both the men and the women. There are no wrong answers. The only wrong answer is Titus O'Neil. He's no longer allowed as an answer on this show.
Oh
I don't know
god.
personally, but he's no longer
Ah,
allowed.
no, it's good. The Rumble's in Riyadh, so he may still show up. Uh,
I can tell you he's not
oh,
going to show up. Aleister Black is technically not allowed
because of the tattoos.
because of his back tattoo. His back
Oh,
tattoo is apparently offensive in that country.
oh.
It's an issue. It's an issue. It's a
Hmm.
real issue for WWE, but he's such a good wrestler.
All right,
So
so
he might show up. He might show up. I don't know if that's still allowed, but it was an issue about 5 years ago.
huh.
But I don't want to get into the politicalness of that. 'Cause that's a whole Middle Eastern pipe bomb, for lack of a better word.
I am going to all right. So for the women, I will. I'll dark horse it, and like in that, like, the out of the field, like, I'm gonna say like Bianca Belair comes back and she wins. For the men, oh, hmm, I think, now I'm gonna go with Braun Breaker.
Like I could see Braun Breaker. I could see Braun Breaker. I am going with Roxanne Perez to win it.
Ooh,
Roxanne
that would be good
Perez,
too.
or I think it's going to come down to Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan as the final two.
Mm.
We're going to set up
Oh, yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
breaking of a Judgment Day situation because that stable is too big,
Mhm.
and the stable doesn't need to be dissolved. It just needs the members need to be kicked out. Some member needs to be kicked out in some way because that stable is too big. You got three women, you got three guys, and
Come on. At this point, Finn Balor's well familiar with being in a very, very large stable,
and
an
the issue
unwieldy stable.
and the issue is that the Judgment Day is a jumping off point. So it gave
Mhm.
Rhea and Damian Priest a lot of room to grow and figure out their characters and then evolve. And then somebody needs to get out of that. Like Dominic Mysterio needs to get out of that. And you had a new
Mhm.
opponent in there from NXT. It makes sense because it's great what they do, but it's you got to move people around. Whether you move Roxanne Perez, let Morgan out of it, whatever you do, that's the answer. But I
Mhm.
digress. This is a whole. I'm sure me and somebody else on Friday are going to talk about this
Mhm.
extensively. I would redo. I would move two pieces out of the Judgment Day, set it up for Mania, and get that done, and use the Royal Rumble with the women to do that. But that's just me. I think it's Roxanne Perez, and then the
Nice.
men. I definitely Braun Breaker would be interesting going after Punk or because Punk is still the champ, right?
Yeah.
And then Drew McIntyre. I mean, again, that's going to be dealt with that elimination chamber, and because Braun Breaker is going after CM Punk, and it makes sense because it'll set up Seth Rollins' return. But anyway,
I did
I
also
do want
forget
to.
about that maybe Obafemi. I forgot that he might come up to he could be a potential too.
That is true. That is true. I did forget about that, but I don't want to see it. No offense. It's not his time. Braun Breaker would be great.
No. Yeah. I agree, but it wouldn't shock me if they really want if they were gonna strap a rocket to him. But so we'll see. But yeah.
But yeah,
So
so where could people find you, bother you, hit you up, check out what you do, stay
I've
in?
not I was gonna say I've not been on social media that much lately. But mostly Instagram now. Like that's pretty much the it. And I've been kind of slacking on that as well. But if you want to see my work, my most up to date stuff is yeah, Instagram at DN as in Nancy Hills HILLS. Um, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm not on really on any of the other socials these days. I just kind of decided to whittle down to just I only have so much time in the day. I'll just work with one.
Fair enough, fair enough. And then obviously it's my show, so I promote myself. I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X. I tweet a lot about sports, in particular yelling at the Knicks and yelling at the Giants. And I get very creative during football season with my tweets. I also tend to troll people a lot. So sometimes I'm not active because I get in suspension mode on Twitter about sports. I really enjoy the sport of it. I'm not very, so if you want to have a good time on Twitter with me, Sunday's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun day. It's also going to be snowy where I'm at. So, it's going to be a blast. Football tweeting, saying, what do you mean that wasn't a penalty? What the hell was that? Oh, very good time, guys.
Oh
So,
no, that's gonna be me on Sunday too, because that's my team. I guess
who's your team? I don't know. There's four teams. There could be anybody.
right there. You don't see the big flag on the back in the back?
I don't know
That's
who.
probably in reverse. Patriots.
Oh, good. I can't. Like, it's hard to see it. I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
like it's hard to read it. It's genuinely hard to read it. Like,
oh, that's funny. No. I'm a Pats guy. So I've been a Pats guy since they sucked. So the first time.
beat the Broncos. That's the easy game. The game that's going to be the better game to watch, I think, is Rams Seahawks, because I think
Mm,
the Rams. I think the Seahawks are going to ultimately win, but I think the Rams are going to definitely give the Seahawks a hard time. Even though the Rams don't look great, they're definitely going to give the Seahawks a run for their money. I don't think that the Broncos, because I think the defense on the Broncos is fine against the Patriots. It's really the offense that's the big question.
hmm
If Bo Nix was playing, I would go with the Broncos.
Oh, that's right. He's out.
Yeah, so that because prior to that, after they won, before it was announced, the Broncos were the favorite, and now they're
hmm
the underdog, and that
Who's
shifted with
their
30 minutes.
yeah? Who's their quarter? Who's their backup?
He hasn't played in like a year and a half or 3
Oh,
years.
jeez.
It's a crazy circumstance, and but you know what is, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be
hmm
it's not going to be a good game. It's going to be a really bad situation, and you got to put money on the Patriots on that game. But this is not money advice. I'm putting money on the Patriots. I would not put a lot of money on the Patriots. I would not put $100 on the Patriots. I'd put like 25 on the Patriots. The odds are shitty. Just if you want to follow me, and I did very well last week because I had the Broncos, I had the Seahawks, I had the Rams, and I had the Patriots. I did very well last week.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I cleaned nicely on DraftKings. Um, but not the point here. But obviously going back to me promoting myself, Twitter, football, Pop Anime Comics, Instagram, Pop Anime Comics, post a lot of cool stuff up there. They found me there. Pop Anime Comics, Facebook, stream there, do some fun stuff there. You can follow me there. Pop Anime Comics on TikTok, do some stuff there, a lot of short clips. You never know what's gonna pop up. Pop Anime Comics on YouTube. Please subscribe. Makes me feel special. And if you want to see all my interviews, I just published my 2000th video today. So I have 2000 videos on YouTube, a lot of interviews, a lot of micro content, a lot of cool stuff. There's something for everybody. You name it, I've done it. I've done everything from crypto people to comic people to cosplayers to wrestlers to indie wrestlers to writers. You name it, I've done it. There's something for everybody. And definitely, though, you might need headphones. I'm just saying there's some stuff in there that is definitely not safe for work. YouTube channel, but you will be entertained thoroughly. And then I do run an eBay store. So look for Comics and Collectibles. Come shop with us on eBay at Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. And I sell stuff like this in my eBay store. I tend to sell stuff like this in my eBay store. I tend to sell stuff like this in my eBay store. I tend to sell stuff like this in my eBay store. I no longer have this card, but I get one-on-one in my eBay store. So definitely check that out. And I do have stuff like this in my eBay store. And I've been saying it forever. I'm going to keep saying it. First off, go to my eBay store if you're looking for cards or comics and browse through it. If you don't see what you're looking for, shoot me a message because I may have it. It just might not be listed. And if I got it and it's not listed, I'll list it for you and you'll happily get it. And if I don't have it, I will tell you. And I have a lot of friends who have stuff, and this happens all the time. And I'm happy to direct you to them because my friends carry merchandise that I don't carry, and I carry merchandise they don't carry. And sometimes I'm out of stuff, and I'm more than happy to help you out with all that. And then sometimes I don't know if I'm going to get a parallel or something in a particular order because it's a blind box, and I can't sell you something that I don't know if I'm going to get. So if I don't know what I'm going to get, I can't sell it to you until I get it. And that's also another reason why you might want to ask me, hey, did you get this blind box? And could you give me first shot at it? Because I've done that for people too. So again, shoot me a message if you're looking for stuff on eBay because I got you covered. But beyond that, no requirements. And that's everything I got going on. And I'm going to give you the final word.
Well, again, thank you. This has been a lot of fun. And it was just kind of cool to just not have like on both our, I guess, like just let's just see where this conversation goes and let's just have some fun. And I hope you felt like you had a good time, and I certainly did. And I hope the people that watch this have enjoyed the twists and turns and rambles because I have a tendency to do that. But no, this was cool. It was nice to you certainly did some nice deep dives. I appreciate that. That was fun. But yeah, no, this was cool. I really appreciate the time and getting to chat with you on this.
Well, you did me a favor because I'm the lucky one and I'm the one who benefits the most from this. So I absolutely appreciate that, and definitely appreciate your time. And I believe that is a wrap, everybody. So enjoy your night, everybody. That's a